Charisma Quotient. I'm your host, Kim Seltzer, a dating and makeover expert, where I will help you build confidence, make connections, and find love from the outside in. The topic of gratitude is a powerful one as we head into the holiday of Thanksgiving, and this depends obviously when you listen to this, but having a positive mindset is the foundation for happy dates, satisfying relationships, and effective social interactions. And focusing on both the feeling and expression of gratitude to create a good interaction is not just important, but crucial if you want to attract a healthy partnership, and whether that's a first date or after years of marriage. And last year, around this time, I did a really impactful episode around this topic that I wanted to reshare as a reminder to be grateful for what you have versus what you don't. It'll give you easy, actionable things that you can start doing right now that will help you approach life with more of a gratitude attitude. So if you are single and you don't have a partner, what do you have, right? How can you look at your life through the lens of positivity and be thankful for things like your health, your friends, your job, your family? You know, these are things that maybe other people don't have, and to really embrace that. And on that note, I wanted to use this moment and pause to give thanks to you listening. I really mean that, for keeping the show alive. It's because of you is why I keep doing these episodes. So enjoy. Okay, I have to share a phone call I had the other day with a client, and she was feeling really down about her dating life. And it wasn't just this phone call. A lot of the phone calls we've had, she's been in this negative state. Every word out of her mouth was negative. And she's like, oh, I've been online before, and there is just really no one remotely dateable in my town. All the men are a-holes. What's the point of flirting? It's such a waste of time. Why can't I just be upfront with the men? This is so exhausting. I want to skip all that. I want to get to the boyfriend stuff. I'm so drained, Kim. And I seem to be doing everything for the men, and I never get it in return. And it went on and on and on and on. I finally stopped her. And I simply asked her this. I said, can I ask you a question? What are you grateful for? I mean, I want to hear what is going right in your life right now. And she paused, and for a really long time. And it was hard for her to come up with something. She admitted that it was hard for her to see anything positive, even though here she had these beautiful children, a lovely home, her health, an amazing career. And so we had a discussion about having a gratitude attitude and a positive mindset, and how that could really help her dating life. And what was underneath it all was that she had been hurt. She had some toxic and highly critical relationships, and she was very fearful of having that happen all over again. And so she had this defense about her. And then with the defense, she was having all these negative experiences. So it was feeding the negativity. And she was also highly reliant on a man to give her validation and to feel lovable. But the work had to really start within herself, filling herself up with that internal validation. And it started with having a little gratitude. I gave her an assignment of creating a gratitude journal. I do this with all my clients. And I had her name something she was grateful for every single day to retrain her brain. And on top of that, I had her create what I call a brag book, where I had her write down something that she loved about herself and felt proud about each day. And she learned finally, after time, and all of you can do this too, she did see how good parts of her life were. She loved spending time with her kids, and it actually helped her create more time with the kids. She got some clothes. She felt inspired. We got her some new pictures, and she really saw how beautiful she was, and she hadn't seen that before, and she put them up online. And with her new attitude, she was ready to be open to the dating process, and voila, she could not believe it, how many men started liking her profile and interacting with her. And the most important thing is she saw new evidence that there were, in fact, great guys in her hometown. She just didn't see it before with her clouded lens. Dating can be hard. I know. I mean, sometimes really hard, especially now. It's easy to get bogged down in the constant roller coaster of emotions, the expectations, the rejections, disappointments, and there's so much stress that is going on in the world. It just is another layer. I get it. So, I mean, staying on the couch at home with a tub of ice cream watching Netflix, yeah, I mean, that's way easier. It's much better option than, having that energy to go online and flirt or getting dressed up and going out. And half of us can't even go out anymore to meet anybody. But it doesn't have to be as hard as it feels right now. And this is what I want to give all of you a little inspiration now, depending on when you're listening to this. It's around Thanksgiving time. And I really want you to pull in and see how you can see your life differently. You are at your most attractive state to potential dates when you're living your best life with positivity and gratitude. There's actually a study done to explore the relationship between gratitude and well being. And the study split several hundred people into three different groups. And all of the participants were asked to keep daily diaries. And the first group kept a diary of events that occurred during the day without being told specifically what to write about, either good or bad. And the second group was told to record their unpleasant experiences. And the last one, they were instructed to make a list of things which they were grateful for. Here's the thing, the results of the study indicated that daily gratitude exercises resulted in higher reported levels of alertness, enthusiasm, determination, optimism, and energy. In addition, those in the gratitude group experienced less depression and stress, were more likely to help others, exercised more regularly, and made greater progress towards achieving their personal goals. So when your well-being is at an all-time high, you're more confident, you enjoy being around people, even though we can't be with many people right now, but it doesn't matter. It can be on the phone, it could be on Zoom. It's having that sense and sharing stories about yourself, dressing up, showcasing that sexy style, even, from 3/4 up on a, on a Zoom call. You are more fun to be around. And when your mindset is switched to the positive, you'll expect more positive things to happen. You'll think positive thoughts. You'll be telling yourself positive things and feeling positive emotions. And this becomes an energetic cycle that tends to lead to the positive outcomes and dates for a lot of people. But, if you start feeling stressed out, your whole mindset changes. You begin to question everything. You wonder whether you'll ever find the one, and you start to panic. But here's the thing, the most important thing to realize is that even when you're stressed out, and believe me, there's a lot of stress going on right now, it's still possible to have a sense of serenity and calm. And in order to find love, you need to change your thinking. It'll allow you to change how you feel about relationships, and it will give you power that you never even knew you had. And here's what's important about all this is that when you have a gratitude attitude and a positive mindset, it makes you more dateable. In real terms, it improves your social capital, actually. And this is another research stuff that they did. And essentially, that means that the quality of your relationships and your reputation among social groups improve. And research shows that gratitude makes us nicer, more trusting, more social, and more appreciative. And as a result, it helps us make more friends, deepen our existing relationships, and improve our marriage and dating and couplehood and all of that. Now, I know what you're thinking. I get all this, Kim. It's all important. And that is great for people who have it so easy. And it's hard to be positive when dating is a breeze and they have their whole life together. But it's actually the reverse here. This is the whole point, is that people who have it all have their love life. They date with ease. It's because they have a gratitude attitude. So they attract all of that in their life. It's not the other way around. A gratitude attitude and a positive mindset makes you more dateable. In order to find love, you need to change your thinking. And it'll allow you to change how you feel about relationships. And it will give you the power that you probably don't even know you have within you. So, I want to go over some tips and ways that negativity may show up and how you can get around it. All right, the first thing is really be aware of your gremlin talk. And what I mean by that, it's those voices in your head, and you know what I mean. It's the ones that scream, and we all have them, but it just depends on how loud they are and how they can take over. There are really big gremlins, and then there's gremlins that you can shrink. And it could be messages like, oh, you'll never meet the one, especially after you had a bad date, or, it's that self-talk saying all the things you're inwardly thinking. It could be, I don't know, you're not good enough. Instead of letting all that self-talk get you down and stop you in the tracks, stop panicking that you'll never find the one, and focus on what you do want, what you want to achieve. So this date didn't go well. It's not the end of the world. There are plenty more fish in the sea. Make a list of all these limiting beliefs in one column on a piece of paper. This is what I do with my clients a lot. And then on the other side, rephrase it to a positive statement. So if your self-talk is, I'm not good enough, change it to, I'm good enough because I am X, Y, and Z, and list all the things that you are. Also, be careful what you say out loud. This is another part of the gremlin talk, and the choices of the words that you use. I was working with a client, and every word out of her mouth was but. Yeah, but, or yeah, I should. So really be careful of those buts and the shoulds. And I see, here's a little hack for you. What you say out loud really makes things come to fruition a lot. And there's been a lot of studies on that. So replace the word but with and, replace the word should with I will. So you can say things like, let's say the negative talk is, I like this dress, but I need to lose weight. I look fat. That's a common thing I hear. Change that to, I like this dress and I look forward to losing weight and buying new things. I'm really excited to wear something that I feel good in right now. Do you hear the difference to that? Because not only will people hear and receive you differently, but you'll start to feel differently yourself when you have a different dialogue. All right, so that's the first one. Be aware of the gremlin talk. Second, stay present. When you do meet someone with potential, it's important to learn to pay attention to the here and now. And this means instead of rushing the introductions, take your time, get to know the person, be in the moment, feel the drink in your hands, become aware of how you're sitting, what your body language is telling the other person. Notice the other person's expressions. Note the tone of the voice. I tell people when they go out on dates, and it doesn't matter if it's in person, on the phone, focus on 2 C words, and that is connecting and being curious. So many times people are bogged down by, you've been hurt in the past, you're worried that it's going to happen again, you're checking your list to make sure that that person doesn't have any of those signs, and so you're riddled by the past. And then you get in your head and worry about the future. So you start, projecting if this person's going to be the one for you, your soulmate, that you lose what is right in front of you. And when you don't focus on that connectivity, the person that is right there, that interaction will be disconnected. And again, it'll feed that negativity because you walk away with, oh, well, that was a bad date, or, oh, I didn't feel chemistry. So staying present is super, super huge. All right, the third, Really look at the reciprocity in your conversations. It's no secret that all the best dates are with people who are happy to share and listen. It's not one or the other. So do a little like test for yourself when you think about when you have conversations. What percentage are you listening and what percentage are you sharing? If you chat constantly about yourself and you don't take the time to listen to the other person, it's not going to be a good interaction. You'll end up feeling even more stressed out as you'll constantly be trying to fill the silences, right? We've all experienced that. But choose to be a good listener, even if that's happening and you feel like that person's not talking. Give them space and time to do that. Ask good questions that encourages them to talk. Take the time to focus on what your date is saying and appreciate the fact that they're willing to share with you. And conversely, if you have like low self-worth or your voice is shut down and you're constantly just focusing on your date and you're not sharing anything about yourself, then the interaction and worse yet, the relationship will become lopsided. What can you do to contribute to the conversation to show your worth? Is your date listening and are you sharing? This, believe it or not, can even show up on your interactions online. I was with doing a client review of her Bumble account, and she was getting all frustrated because these guys weren't, according to her, saying anything to her. And she's like, I don't know, like these conversations aren't progressing. No one's asking me out. And so when I looked into her conversations, I saw exactly what was happening. She was not contributing at all. She started all the conversations with, "Hi, how are you?" And then she didn't say anything, and she was just kind of waiting for the guy to give her something. And on top of it, she didn't write anything in her profile. Like she didn't have any description. So there was nothing to even ask her about. And so, I mean, as we were doing it, she was laughing because she didn't even realize that what she was putting out is exactly what she was getting back. So that reciprocity is huge. And the reason why this falls under the category of the gratitude and positive mindset is that it can be a rabbit hole. If you have had bad conversations and you think that every single date is going to be laborious, every single interaction is going to be just, like it's like you're pulling your hair out, right? So you will also have a bad attitude about even getting online to have a conversation or even hopping on Zoom or in real person date because your experience has been that your conversations are horrible. But the reality is that there's a lot of things you can do with the way that you share, the way that you listen, the way you flirt, your positivity, your humor, your laughter, all those things add to the conversation that's going to make it more enjoyable, not just for your date, but for you as well. All right. Third, change that negative attitude. Okay. It's a well-known fact that good things tend to happen to positive people. This is the message I'm trying to drill into you today. If you have a negative attitude while you're trying to find a partner, then chances are it ain't going to happen. You have to change that mindset and be more positive, and you'll find that your dating life will significantly improve. Be mindful of how that negativity also might be leaking. This is something I see a lot, and it's hard. I mean, it's hard to look in the mirror and see exactly what's going on, but it could be even the way you talk. It could be your tonality. It could be one negative statement in your profile. It could be body language, and you know what I'm talking about. Yes, those RBFs, the resting bitch faces. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, that is a reality, and that is something that a lot of people cannot see in themselves. It could even be in the way that you dress. So how are you leaking? What's going on outside that may be negative, and you might not even be aware of it. Really be mindful of the words you choose. So here's the thing that I tell people all the time to do, you have to give yourself time. If you've had a stressful day or you learned a stressful piece of news, it's probably not a good idea to hop on a Zoom call or a date right afterwards. You have to give yourself time to shake that off. Give yourself, I say at least an hour before going online or on a date so that you have that positive mindset, and do something in that hour to lift yourself up, to be more in your body, dance around, put on some happy music, name a gratitude of the day, something you love about yourself. Put your dating costume on, change your outfit. It changes your mindset. There's, again, all this research that has been done on that. Let's face it, let's be real. We're all in, the COVID outfit right now, and you know what I'm talking about. But it doesn't mean we have to stay there. The other day, I actually put on a dress to do a webinar, and I can't tell you how different I felt. I knew that nobody saw me from the waist down. It didn't matter. It was for me, and I killed it. The clothes that you wear definitely has a direct impact on not just how you feel, but how you come across. And then when you have your costume on, dance around. Have like a playlist that is like your positive, mood set. I don't know, you could do a gratitude playlist. You could do anything that can get you in the mood. It is better. There was an interesting study done. I just remember this, that people were trying to understand like why a woman wasn't getting asked out for the second date. And there was a bunch of interviews with like a lot of guys. And they asked the guys, why didn't you ask that woman out? Because on the surface, these women looked like good matches for them. They seemed to have their stuff together, and there was a lot of positive stuff about the women. But do you know they determined that the one thing that they would walk away from was that if there was any kind of negative statements throughout the date, that they remembered that, and it's almost like it neutralized all the positive stuff about that person. So that's the other thing about negativity, is that it stands out. You could have all these positive things going on, and if there's one little negative leak, it can deter the whole interaction. It can deter the next date. So really be mindful of all of those things. All right, now it's time to get into the letter. I have a perfect email that I received not too long ago. This is from Stacy, and she says, there's something about my appearance that attracts only the coarse blue collar guys, and I'm having a really difficult time being interested in them. A lot of these men are not as practiced or skilled at dating. Their profiles are often brief and generic. Their photos are with sunglasses. These are not my guys, and it's hard to turn into, any kind of conversation whatsoever, or even actual in-person meetings. When we do meet, they show up in shorts and flip-flops or running shoes, talk nonstop, get drunk, complain about their exes. I feel like I've done a lot of preparation for this, and the men put minimal effort. Before that, I was overweight, and I did not date at all. I don't know how to overcome the obstacle of men being attracted only to one's looks. I live with my elderly parents, so I can't go out and meet men during this time because of COVID. So I'm very discouraged and throwing in the towel. Where are all the good men? Maybe I'm just meant to be alone, Stacy. Oh, Stacy, I feel where you're at. That was a long email, and I understand that this frustration is big for you. It's hard to have a positive attitude when things seem so bleak. I find it kind of interesting that you're complaining about how these guys look, and then you're also complaining of how you don't like the guys to complain about your looks. So, again, like attracts like. I will start with that. And it just sounds like you're stuck in a rut where your story keeps being told over and over again. And it's time to flip the script and create a new story for yourself. I believe you. I believe that you are encountering profiles that you don't like. I believe that you don't feel attractive. So therefore, you're shut down. But what you have to start doing is believing something different. And it will mean doing some different things that might be uncomfortable or something you don't want to do. But the negative track that keeps going over and over again, that's going to continue. And so that guck keeps growing and it layers on itself. It's like a virus. So you need to combat it with a little remedy of the gratitude attitude and a positive mindset. So here's the thing. I first here, I get that you can't meet anyone out right now, and that's real. And I know it's not ideal, but instead of thinking of it as gloom and doom, I would invite you to look at it as a blessing where you can really take the time to work on yourself, building your dating muscle, feeling better about your looks and all of that. Create more online connections by trying a different strategy. Maybe you want to go on a different app. Maybe you want to just get rid of all the apps right now and hire a matchmaker. You know, shake it up. Anytime something is feeling stuck, it's the only way to get unstuck is to do something different. It's like what I call it a pattern disruption. And I get that you are not attracting who you want. So it's time to change things up. Maybe change the pictures, change your profile, join some social club and events online. There's lots of fun stuff going on. There's even improv classes happening because you sound like you're in this really serious mode as well. What could you do to add a little fun, spontaneity, and playfulness in your life? And finally, I highly encourage you to do that daily gratitude routine of some sort. It could be keeping the journal, like I talked about before. It could be just changing the negative statements into positive ones. How can you change your script? And I know it all seems hard and hopeless, but challenge yourself by trying these three things to boost your attitude. And in the end, you'll boost your confidence. And that, again, positivity will radiate outwards and it'll start the roadway to your dating success. And for you listening, if you're like Stacy, it is your right to find love by creating positive energy into your life. That's why I wanted to kick you in the butt today, because this week, more than any other week of the year, again, if you're listening to this, we're close to Thanksgiving. It is a time to look at your life and figure out what it is that you love. A gratitude attitude and a positive mindset makes you more dateable. So thanks for joining me today. As always, this has been the Charisma Quotient. I'm your host, of course, Kimmy Seltzer. And remember, you can build confidence, make connections, and find love from the outside in. And make sure you go to my site, kimmyseltzer.com. And if you keep asking yourself, why are you still single? Why am I still single? And you're feeling powerless and negative about your love life. Hop on a free call with me, and I will give you a little kick in the butt with motivation and map out a plan to institute a gratitude attitude and a positive mindset to attract love. Just click the link you see in the show notes to book it now. And remember, working on you is working on your love life. That's all for now.